Hello guys, hello. Let me share my screen. Before we start, can you guys able to hear me? Can you confirm please? Are you guys able to hear me? I'm extremely sorry. We're a bit late today. We had some issues while setting up the stream. So never mind. We're gonna start as soon as possible. Okay, makes sense. Yeah. I could see. Okay, so let's wait for only 1 minute and then we can probably start. Thank you guys. Thank you Isaac. Thank you Pius and thank you Jyoti for confirming that you guys are able to hear me. And I'm really sorry. I mean, for the last couple of weeks, I was literally busy, and that was the reason I couldn't host the session. So yeah, due to some time constraint and also I'm running a sort of time. So that was the reason I couldn't host it. Uh, this week, yeah, I'm gonna host. Tomorrow also I'm gonna host. So uh, going forward, I'm hoping that I'll be able to host the sessions on Saturday and Sunday. However, there could be a little changes in time. Okay, but let's hope to host the sessions as scheduled. We are going to wait for couple of minutes and then we can probably start. I could see only two viewers. So basically, what basically we're going to do today is we'll be talking about the continuations of the previous chapters. In the previous chapters, I was not able to explain much about the alias, right? The alias command, the alias concept in Linux. The reason was I think I used the Ubuntu box wherein the packages required for the alias wasn't updated properly, and as a result, it was not giving me the output that it was supposed to give it. So today I have my rel 8. Okay, I've got my rel 8 machines where I'm going to deep dive a bit about alias, and then I'll give you a brief introduction about the other commands as well, because we have done fairly enough about commands, but it is not enough, right? So we just talked about what exactly happens in the backend when you type ls command or any types of command, right? How they interact with the binaries of that particular commands, which is inside the bin folder, right? And then how that particular bin folder is also associated with the libraries, right? So all these are actually interrelated, and understanding these fundamental concept is really important. So I think we've talked about a lot about the commands, and we also saw the lots of hands-on about the basic commands. Today also will be touch base on basic commands, no doubt, but at the same time we'll also be talking about a bit of advanced commands, and if time permits, then we are going to talk about a boot process, which is really important. Okay, so you will have to understand the boot process because we are learning Linux, and if we do not understand the concept of how your Linux works when it's powered on, so that's absolutely makes a sort of a void in terms of the learning technology. right? Fantastic, Abdul. Yeah, you said loud and clear. Good. Thanks for the confirmations. Okay, guys, let's start the today's session. So, I'm going to talk about the allies today. Okay, so let's straightway jump onto the sessions and hands-on. So before that, let me share my PPTs. So can you see this, guys? Let me see that. So this is going to be the agenda, right? We will see like how this analysis works and a bit of for commands and boot process. We'll try to cover it. Let's hope. Okay, so let's see what is an alias. Why use it, right? Although I've already mentioned about this particular concept, but still let's do a bit of revise, right? Let's do a recap of that so that you guys can get a good understanding of it. So why do you use alias? So we use alias to make our commands interactive. Let's say you have a commands, right? So long commands which you feel like you don't feel like typing the whole commands, right? So in that case you can make an alias of that particular commands and you can run it. Okay, so this is what the alias is all about. And why you use it, of course, it actually makes it makes repetitive commands easier. let's say let's say for example you are viewing the services, right? Let me share the screen on the hands-on part. Okay, okay, so this is a railway machine. Yeah, okay, so this is what I was testing it. So let's say I want to see the service of the status of a particular service. Let's say the network manager, right? So we type at what we type it as what system status. Then you've got network manager. The task for the task of or the work of this particular service is to maintain your network services in the Linux system. Okay, so let's say if I want to see the status of this, then it says it's active, right? So now if you don't feel like typing the whole, this three words line, right? So if you feel like, I don't want to type this three-word line, so I just want to make this a shortcut for this particular whole command, then how are you going to do it, right? So that's where your alias comes into picture. So alias is going to help you to make any commands as per your names. Okay, maybe you can name this as a shorter version. Let's say I want to make an alias of this particular set of commands to uh, let's type alias. I would like to see only network status, right? You can probably type any convenience names as per your convenience. Okay, so you can type any simple names, and that depends you. If I want to make an alias of this particular command, right, this whole command, then I'm just making an alias of what network status, and here just type is what equals under this. Just type this whole command. Okay, so let me type that whole command. Copy, and then if you paste it, so if you do this, see now you have created a shortcut for this particular command. Okay, so, because it's okay for initial at the beginner's level, at the learning stage, you can probably type system status network manager, right? But what if you don't want to type all these three words again and again, right? So in that case, what do you do? So you have this alias concept in Linux by the help of which you can easily get the output with just typing the alias name, right? So what is the alias name that we have set here? It's network status, right? So if you just type only this, and now if you can see the status, this will exactly give you the status that you're typing for this command. Okay, so this alias works like that. See, and that's it. Now you don't have to type systemctl status network manager, right? You simply write what system status as a network network status. Or if you can also do simply what alias, just say ns. That's it, and just type. Let's see that. Let me copy this. Okay, so if you just do this, now you've got two alias for this particular command. Now, if you want to check the status, you just type ns. You'll have your answer ready. Yeah, you'll have your output. So this is how you set the alias, right? So you set an alias for a particular commands, and this is important when you get used to with the commands. Of course, at the learning stage, you'll have to get familiar with all these commands by just typing and just try to play around, right? But once you're done with this, if you want to make a shortcut of this particular commands, then you can probably use the alias concept. Okay, so I hope this concept is clear. Now let me see that. So now since you have created the alias, now if you want to see how many aliases have been created, so there's a command. Simply type what alias. Okay, see, can I say this? These are the alias you can see. Okay, so this is the one that we've just set it out, and this is the one that we've set the second one. Okay, with the same status. So you want to see that what are the aliases names present in this particular terminal or system, then you can probably type what only alias. Now you're done with this. The moment you sit down the machine, and the next day if you just start the machine and start working it, then this will be deleted. Okay, this will be completely deleted, because for this to have the permanent effect, let's say even after rebooting the system, if you want this particular alias should be present, then in that case what do? There's a file called bash.rc wherein you have to define this particular alias. Okay, so if you just define the whole thing like as it is, then only you'll be able to see it even after rebooting it. I can show you. I'll show you the file. The file is under, let's say this is what. Okay, under this. Now if you do ls7al, so for this I have to go to the home directory. Okay, if you're a normal user, you can go to your home directory. Since I'm logged in as root, so I can probably show you, like, I have to go to root directory. This is the home directory for root. Now if you do ls-al, because bash is actually a hidden file, so you'll get this by uh, doing a long listing with -al, right? So this is what I think I've told you in the beginning. Okay, so if you can see here, this bash rc, this file, if you can just do this, can you see it? User specific licensing function, right? So these have already been updated here. So this is the reason, even after rebooting, why you're getting these options, right? If you just try to delete any files or directory, you will be asked, like, are you sure you want to delete this file or directory? Is it only because of these entry? Okay, because they've got what they've mentioned, the rm this command as what rm-i. So it'll just ask you whether you're actually deleting a file or not. Okay, however, if you delete this file from here, okay, then it won't ask you. I think I showed you the example before. Okay guys, so this is what I actually wanted to cover, the important concept, or the important the chapter I would say in this Linux, okay, which I believe we missed out due to the systems wasn't working. So this is what I actually want to cover. Okay. Now let's go and try to see a couple of basic commands before we start the next sessions, next chapters. So now let's talk about the basic commands. Like we talked about cat command. We also talked about how do you see. There are different ways to see files, right? Like let's say if I just uh, enter in any file, right? Welcome to D5, this D5, and then you just what you saved this particular comments inside what, let's say a.txt. Okay, now if you see cat a.txt, you can see that you have your comments, right? We discussed about there are different ways to view this file, right? File contents, like you can do it by more. You can also do it by what? Tail command. Okay, you can also do it by what? Of course, cat is there. Okay, so these are the commands by the help of which we can see the contents of the file. Now, if you want to make some entries inside this file, then there's a file command. There's a command called vi, right? There's a vi editor uh, concept here in Linux, by the help of which you go inside the file, you make changes, you save it, and then you come out, right? So this is important. It's important to understand vi command. Okay, so let's say if I were to go inside this file, then what do you do? Just vi.a.txt. Now here you are into the file. Now if you want to make some entries inside this file, then what do you do? Just probably do a screenshot. Now if you want to enter some contents inside it, then what do you do is simply press the I. Okay, press I, and then the right arrow key. Okay, so if you just press enter, now you can write here, hope you guys are enjoying. Okay, now you've just mentioned these commands. Now you want to save this file, right? If you want to save this file and come out of it, what do you do? Simply press escape and then colon. Okay, can you see this at the bottom? You can see the colon. Now to save this file, okay, because you've made some changes. Now if you want to save this file, then what do you do? Just press WQ and then exclamation mark. Okay, this is to save the contents and coming out of the file. Okay, so if you just do enter, now this file has more contents, the latest contents, right? So if you just do txt, so this is how you could see, right? Now if I again want to enter inside it, then what do you do? via.txt. Now again to enter something, what do you do? Just type I. Okay, then down arrow key. Okay, go at the bottom, and then if you just enter, you can type here. Now if you just type, let's type some gibberish. Okay, you typed it, but you know what? You realize that these are not the contents that I want, and I actually want to save it the previous contents only. So simply what you can do is just simply do again escape. Okay, then colon and then q and exclamation mark. So if you do this, then whatever contents you have added here, it won't get saved. Okay, let me show you. See, now if you just do care of this, you see that the contents, all those gibberish words that I typed, right, it didn't save. So here why do I want to focus on vi is this is the important command wherein you have to play around with this command. Okay, so going inside and coming out, so getting those familiar, okay, getting the familiarity with this command is something that you should practice. Okay, so this is what I actually wanted to touch base on this vi command. So I hope you got a bit of idea about like how we can use vi command. So there are many options. I'll be deep dive more into this, but just want to give you a slight highlight like how we can use this command. Okay, and other than that, you also have nano. Okay, nano is also a command. It's just like vi, so that also you can use, but mostly you would see that vi is used. Okay, so it's better to have a good hands on the vi command. Okay, now this is a bit of commands, I would say. Now if you now since you're I want to understand like you're logged in as root or normal user, right? So how do you want to find that out? You can easily find that by what? Typing who am I command. Okay, so this actually tells you whether you are a normal user or a root. Okay, if you just type who am I and just enter, see it says you're root. So in this system, I'm logged in as root. Okay, so this is the command. It tells that you're logged in as root. Now, if you want to see uh, how many users have logged into this particular machine, then the command is what? Either you can just do w enter, okay, or the second part what you can do is who command. Okay, see, can you see it? So these are the different terminals. Okay, so Deepak is a normal user. Okay, initially I logged in as Deepak, and then later on I switched to root. Okay, so this is what the basic commands. So now if I want to see like this machine has been up from what date, right? Since how long this machine has been up. So what is the command to find that out? There's a simple command called what? Uptime. If you just type uptime, see it'll show you that this machine has been up since 1558, right? The time now is what? The time now is 1558. Okay, now this has been up what since 1558, and this tells you like how many users have logged in. Okay, and this will tell you the load average on this particular machines. Okay, so these are the load average that is shows in first 15 minutes, 5 minutes and 0 second. It actually shows like that. So this will again will go deep dive when we learn about the process management. Okay, there we will deep dive into this command. We'll understand these parameters deep we will deep dive into these parameters. Okay, now there are some couple of commands. If you want to see the OS version of this particular machine, right? So how are you going to show it? If you just do uname -r, can you see it? This says that this is EL8 means this is a RHEL 8, the OS version, right? And 4.18 is the kernel version. Okay, so uname -r is a command by the help of which you can get this. Now there are a couple of files which are really important to understand. Like if you cat that file, then you'll get the detail output of your OS. Okay, if you just do cat etc release, okay, so if you do this, can you see this? This is actually showing what the Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and it's a OS 8. Okay, so in the interview, sometimes the interviewer may ask questions like what version of rail os you're using, right? So you should know like what version of os that your company or that your project is using. So how do you find that out, right? So you can, if you just simply type this red hat release file, then you'll get the rail version. Okay, so 8 is the os version that you're using here. This is there, and a couple of some other commands like I've talked about uptime. Now if you want to see like what exactly the disk usage and all uh, that this particular machine has is by what command. If you want to see the disk usage, then it's of course the wave-kh. So this is going to show you what the disk usage. This is also really important. Okay, so this particular system has got 36% of the root that has been used, right? And 36% of the boot, 4% of home directory, and 9% of the var. Okay, so it'll tell you the status of your file system. Now to check the memory space, what is the way of checking the memory space? It's simply free hyphen h, right? H stands for what? The human readable form. It'll show you the memory status. If you just do this, see, can you see it? You've got the total 1.9 GB of memory, wherein used part is this much, and you've got free as 96, right? So again, these are for buffer and cache, so they usually utilize this many, and you've got the free available as what, 640 MB. Okay, so this is how you see the memory space. Like in Windows, how do you see the process, right? The process held process status, the memory status, right? Let's say if you want to see in Windows, then you can, what you do is right click here, task manager. Now you could see here, can see here the performance. If you can see the performance, so you've got CPU, the CPU utilization is this much, memory is this much. I've got 8 GB of memory out here on my laptop, and out of that 5.3 GB has been used, right? So this is the process and the memory status of my laptop, but the inside one is the status of my VMs, right? It'll also it'll show you everything. So disk, I've got only C drive. Okay, so this is how it is showing, right? Now if you go to process, it'll tell you the whole process status, right? So this is a Java process running. I can probably kill it. Okay, this is how we create. This is how we kill in the Windows. Likewise, if you want to say this in Linux, right? So this is what I've shown you. Now there's a command called top. With the help of what, you can easily see all the processes just now in Windows I've shown, right? This one, can you see it? These processes, right? These are the processes. And in Windows, how do you see the services? If you just go here and just type services, right? If you just type here, you can see that these are the services, right? And if you see that there are some unwanted services which are running, then you can probably do what? Just do it, right click, either you start or you get options to end the service, right? Stop the service. So this is exactly, I mean, of how we do it in Linux. There's a different way. So it's all command line. So the process, if you want to see the processes in Linux, what do you do? It's just top command. There's a top command. Okay, if you just see, these are the processes running. Can you see it? Now we need to understand these concepts, these parameters. Okay, so like with memory also, you could see all this total memory and then how much has been used. Likewise, if you just fire top command, then this will also give you the whole status, right? So you've got swap. Why do you need a swap? The reason swap is needed is what? in case if there are some programs, okay, which needs a lower priority, and so that sort of processes goes to what your swap space, right? So this is how you see it. So here you can see that how many users have been logged in, what exactly the load average on the system at the moment. So this I told you, this is a status that is shown for the last 15 minutes, 10 minutes, okay, 15, 5, and 0. So again, we'll deep dive. We're gonna discuss in detail about this when we touch base on the process management chapter. But I just want to make you guys familiar that how we can see, the general monitoring of your system. Okay. Okay. Let me see the chat. If we have any chat. Okay. Just give me a minute. Okay. If you see it, let me read the chat once again. Okay. Okay. Don't see anybody questioning. We could say 98 viewers. That's really good. Okay. So this is what I actually wanted to highlight, or I actually wanted to discuss about the command overview. Now let's move on to a couple of commands, and then we'll quickly do a next one. Now, likewise, I told you that how we can see the Red Hat version, right? That which OS it is used by what. If you just cat Red Hat release file, then you can see that I've got the rel 8 which is used in this machine, right? Now, if you want to see the memory, right, you can also do what cat etc mem info. CPU info. Let me see. No, it seems like it's not working here. So likewise, there should be a file called mem. Let me see that. Let me go here. ls. Let me see that. Okay, so I'll check on this because there should be one file called CPU info and mem info. Okay, so that particular file also has the detail of your memory status and the CPU status. So what usually happens is the moment uh, you type free-s, right? So the systems actually reads the status from that particular file, which is like meminfo, and show you the status of the memory, right? Likewise for CPU. Okay, so this is how it works. Now, other than that, what are the other commands? Let me see. The other commands, I think the basic commands we are familiar with. Okay, let me see in the PPT if you have any. Okay, so these are all about alias command that we've done it. Yeah. Okay, so one more thing to make it clear is, since you have created this alias, right? So if you want to unalias that, if you want to remove the alias, right? First of all, see the alias, which are the alias, temporary aliases you have by this command, right? Now I've set the alias, set this as alias, right? This one. Now if you want to unalias it, how do you do it? Simply write what unalias and just type this name. Okay. Now, if you just do alias, you could see that this particular alias has been removed. So, can you see it? I hope you can see it, right? So that has been removed. So this is how you remove the alias, right? So now if you want to remove this alias as well, so simply what, that's it. See if you can see it. Now if you just type ns, it will not give you the output. It'll say command not found. See, okay, because you have removed the alias now. So this is, I think I missed in the beginning, so just thought to give you the information. So this is how you analyze the alias that you have created or set. Now, other than that, let me see if we have some basic commands rather than this. We talked about the basic alias. So, see, so for example, here you can do it, right? So for clear commands, to clear the screen, you do clear, right? Now, if you don't want to type clear, then you can just set the alias as CLS and you can do it accordingly. Okay. And this, I said that you have to make changes into bash RC, then only it'll be applied, and even after reboot, it'll work, right? Otherwise, if you do not make entry in this particular file, then the moment you reboot, it won't work. Okay, so this is what I actually want to tell you. Now again, we talked about ls like pwd, it's present working directory, right? cd is to just move to a specific directory, make dir is to create a directory, touch is to create a files. If you want to create 10,000 of files, you can just use the touch command and then create multiple files. Okay, now in the file management, again, as I said, cp command, right? Cp move. So cp is to what, copy the exact copy of a particular file, right? So this, I think, I've discussed in the session 2 or 3. Okay, so I hope you guys have practiced a lot and got a good hands-on now. Again, list command, head command, tail command, we've already discussed about it. Sorry. So this permissions, chmod, chown, umask. Okay, so these are the important commands that we must know. Okay, so this will do it. See this one, like who am I already told you, right? So id is what, id command is gives you the id of a user. Let's say I've got a username Deepak, right, into the system. So if I do user Deepak, then it'll show you like what ID has been assigned to a user Deepak when it was created, right? See, the ID that was assigned to Deepak is 1000. So what happens is, at the time of installation of the Linux box, so the ID that starts from 0 to near about 999, all these IDs are meant for your system's users. Okay, so it's meant for the system. Now after 999, whatever IDs the system will assign, it will be assigned for what, the normal users. Okay, so now let's say if I want to create any user out here. So the command to create a user is what, user add, let's say uh, user one. Okay, user one is the name of the person, let's say. Now you could see that this particular user has been created. Now if you want to see what ID has been assigned to this particular user one, is by what, simply looking id user one. So can you see it? The system has assigned the ID as 1001 to this particular user. Okay, which means I told you that the user, the ID that start from 0 to 999, you won't get ID that start from 0 to 999. But after that, whatever users you are going to create, those IDs will be assigned to you. Now if you create a user add user 2, then for this user, the ID that will be assigned will be 1002. Okay, now if you just see to see like what ID this particular user has is by what user 2. Can you see it? 1002. So it actually goes on. So the catch here is you have to remember, or you have to get this concept that whatever user you're going to create, okay, of course you as a root will be able to create the user, right? Because a normal user won't have that permission to create the users. So so the ID assigned will always start from what? Your 1000. Okay, so whatever users you're going to create, accordingly those IDs will be created. Now since I've created two users, now if I want to give the password for that particular user, so what do you do it? There's a command called what passwd, then user one. I want to assign password to this user, right? Although these commands we're going to deep dive when we touch base on the user management. So there I'll again create this, and what usually happens when you create this particular users, what are the directories or what are the files that gets created. Okay, so those we're going to discuss in detail, but right now just to show you an example like how it works, I just thought of give you I just thought of giving you the example. Now let's say if you want to create the password for this particular user. Now it says what it's asking me to set the password for user one. So I'll just type what 123 123. See now for user one, the password assigned has been done. Now you can log in as what user one. You can easily log in as what user one. So if you just do what user one. Okay, now you're here. Can you see it? This means you are logged in as what user one here. Now I told you in the beginning, like how do you see that your what user you're logged in as what user, right? So there's a command for my right. See, is it in the beginning in the earlier when I typed this who am I got root, right? Because I logged in as root that time. But now I switch to what? It's a switch user, right? Switch user to user one, which means I'm logged in as what user one. Now if you want to log into user two, okay, so if you just do user 2, so it won't work, right? Because I've not set the password. So you need a password for this user 2, right? Because you have not set the password for this user. So once you create the password for this particular user, then only you'll be able to log in, right? Now I have to go to root, root. Now I'm logged in as what for my root. Now I can set the password for this particular user. That is the command is passwd user 2. Okay, so let's set the password for this user. Okay, now let's switch to user one, user two, right? Now I've logged in as what user two. See, and this is it. So this is how you play around with creating users and how you switch users from user one to user two, right? So this is how we do it. Now if I want to switch as what user one, it's asking the password. So 123. See now who am I? See, this is where I'm able to log in as what user one now. Again, switch back to root. So anyways, we'll touch base on this in detail because it's just uh, the, the the overview I just want to give you. But when you talk about when you learn about when you go about the user management, there it is in detail, like what kind of account is this, and what is the account status, how about the password, expiry date on this particular user. Okay, so that you can easily see it when we touch base on this user management. Okay, so this is how you play around with this. Okay, clear screen. So these are the simple commands which you should be familiar with. Okay, you should know about it. Any comments I could say? Do we get the commands documents as cheat reference? Okay, yeah, Sage. Definitely, you'll get that. Don't worry about that. Now this is what I actually want to touch base. So chmod command chown. Okay, umask. What is umask? This concept we will discuss about it in the upcoming lesson. Then you've got a bit of advanced command where you should be knowing like all those networking command, like what exactly is ping command, how to see the IP address in this particular machine box, right? Let me show you a quick one. Um, I'm going to show you later on also, but let me show it right now because we are on the flow right now. So if you want to see like what IP address do I have in the system is by what command, there's a lot of commands. Number one, you can just do what ifconfig, isn't it? If you just do this, so you can see all this network card, right? This particular card has got the IP assigned. Can you see this? This is a loop back one. So these are what, this is how you see the IP address. Either you type ipconfig, and in Windows, if you want to see it through command line, so there's a command called what, instead of if, there's IP, right? Ipconfig. So that's the only difference between Linux and Windows. Now, there are other commands also to see the IP address of this particular machines. So the command is ipadd, right? The command is what, ipadd. See, ipadd and ifconfig, both the commands are giving the same output, right? So this is how you see the IP address of this particular machines. Okay, so these are the network commands which just basic one here. We are going to talk about the commands like tracert, ping command. Then you've got, if you want to see like which are the ports that are running in the system, right? So there's a command called netstat. So that's we're going to see it. So it's still a long way to go because we have not explored much command. We've only explored the basic commands so far. Okay, but to get a good hands-on or to get a good grip on the commands, like the advanced commands, you need to understand the basic commands first. Then only you'll be able to move further, right? So this is what I mean. My agenda, my aim is to just make you guys familiar with your basic commands, and once you have those basic and the fundamental commands grip strong, then of course you can move into the advanced part. Now in the PPT, see, I was talking about top command, right? I just showed a overview, but we'll deep dive into all those parameters. Then PS, what does this PS command does? So this command is going to tell you what are the processes that are running on your system, right? If you just do a PS, okay, PS hyphen AUX. If you type this command, then what it's going to show you is, it'll show you all the processes, right? Like in the Windows under Task Manager, I showed you, right? So this is the one, Task Manager. Just give me a minute. Okay, so So these are the way how we see in the Windows, right? So exactly in Linux, if you want to see the process, right, the number one way to do it is, or to watch, is the top command. The other way around to see the processes running is what? ps-aux is give you the whole detail about the processes running on this particular machines. Okay, Linux machine. So say, so these are the processes running on this particular machines. Can you see it? So this is how you see the processes running. Sometimes what happens is, this is like, let's say your system is running slow, or you have some problems in the system, right? Then how are you going to see it, what exactly has happened, right? You'll have to fire this command to see the status of your CPU, your memory, and the process, what particular process is consuming what. Okay, so like for example, this particular process, of course this is kernel, right? PID 1, can you see it? It'll show you here like this particular process is consuming what, how much percentage of memory, how much percentage of CPU. Okay, so this will show you here. Or best you can do is what, simply a top command. If you just do a top command, it'll show you like what exactly this process is taking, right? So don't worry, we will definitely deep dive. Okay, we're going to deep dive into these. Okay, then after that, we also have to learn about how we archive or backup the data. So there are a couple of commands. You must know about what exactly the star command do. Okay, and what is rsync, and what is scp command. Okay, and what does this dd command do. So these commands are the advanced commands. First, please get a proper hands-on the basic commands. Then as and when we progress, as and when we start the new, the process management and other concept, there we'll talk about how we use this command, what is the use of these commands. Okay, and for the scheduling, okay, we'll also see like what are cron tabs and at commands. Okay, and then let me move on to the next one. Okay, what's the time right now? Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute, guys.